The Susan B. Anthony List started when I and a group of other pro-life women on Capitol Hill noticed in 1992 that the media had dubbed that year the Year of the Woman, and we were left out. We were not being represented at all. So a diverse group of women, different faiths, different political persuasions, all came together and decided it's time to put that to an end. And so we created the Susan B. Anthony List, named for the suffragette who was very pro-life. And Jennifer Bingham, Susan Gibbs, and several other just star leaders and I started the search for a president. And we found Jane Abraham, who had enough on her hands with a senator for a husband and 2 brand new twins, but she said yes. After Jane's involvement, our organization just exploded in growth. We helped elect 6 new pro-life senators, which is exactly what we needed for the Supreme Court. We had to staff it with people who understood Roe versus Wade and what it had done to women. Now we have elected 14 pro-life women to the House, which is a tremendous change from 0. And the greatest thing that I'm so excited about is last year we have helped facilitate the beginning of the Pro-Life Women's Caucus.
One of the things that is so important about having a pro-life women's caucus is that it gives us a time to sit down together and focus on one single issue. And it is the underpinning issue for so many other discussions that take place here, and that is that we support life.
I think it's a critical tool in winning the abortion debate, because when women speak on this issue, people do listen.
We're very grateful for all the pro-life men, the stalwarts who've been in Congress for many years. And now we're having a good number of women who are really taking the forefront in standing up for the sanctity of human life, and it's wonderful.
Without the Pro-Life Women's Caucus, it would be very difficult to find victories here in Washington.
I think that we lend a great deal to the credibility of the issue when it's women who are speaking.
Pro-life women in Congress are the ones that speak the most loudly with the most conviction and the most authority on life.
Pro-life women are important in being able to articulate why we believe, what we believe, and why it is so important, why supporting life is so very important.
When a woman is involved in a situation, she can refute those arguments. She can say that she is speaking from personal experience. She can speaking as a woman on a very personal topic, and so they can go head to head on it, whereas a man in those circumstances may not just be able to enter that dialogue in quite the same footing, quite honestly.
I think it's so wonderful to have pro-life women participating in the debates that take place in the committee process, on the floor, through seminars that we give, and all kinds of forums. Why? Because there's that stereotype that the liberal media always go by, and they say, well, if that's a woman, then she's going to be espousing a pro-abortion agenda, and that's just not true.
When there is the possibility of 435 members of the House, we need to exceed the numbers we currently have now for pro-life women. I know we can do better, and with the help of Susan B. Anthony List, we will do better.
That's hogwash. To be pro-woman in politics is to be pro-life, because, as I said before, we are the folks that have the opportunity to create life, to carry that child.
We know how destructive abortion is, not only to the baby, but to the mom as well. So we know that being pro-life is being pro-woman, in the fullest sense of the word.
If that were true, I wouldn't be in the House of Representatives, because I wouldn't have had the core of volunteers and a great deal of support that I had in my race from pro-life women that helped me, campaigned for me, encouraged for me, walked door to door and made phone calls.
It's ludicrous. It's not rooted in reality. It's not based on any facts. And in fact, we're going to have more pro-life women become candidates, speak out, and become involved in organizations like the Susan B. Anthony List.
We have a lot of organizations that do a wonderful job of speaking up on behalf of the unborn child, that educate the public on the issues. but we need women elected to political office to stand up for the pro-life stand. And Susan B. Anthony has a very unique role in electing pro-life women and pro-life men, quite frankly, to Congress too. And it really is a counter to Emily's List.
I truly believe that if we're going to ever change this policy of abortion on demand, that I think is one of the most tragic things that ever happened to America, that we're going to need to get pro-life women to Congress. And Susan B. Anthony and the work that they do is probably one of the premier efforts in America to do just that.
It's much better to be on the offense than be on the defense, or much better to know how women are going to vote or people are going to vote when they're elected than to try to change their opinions after they're elected. So the absolute right attitude is the attitude that the Susan B. Anthony list has, which is let's elect the right people to begin with, and then we don't have to spend all of our energy convincing people to do the right thing.
Emily's List has received a lot of media attention, but the SBA List is growing. Every year it gets more powerful. Every year more people, rank and file citizens, are contributing from $5 to $5,000 and more to this cause. And this allows us to get more candidates interested in running for office.
They elect people like me, people who believe in the pro-life cause to the core.
Education and information is all well and good, and absolutely a foundation upon which a conversation and a national debate happens. But policy is ultimately changed when people win elections, and that's where the Susan B. Anthony list has been so helpful.
It seemed to me that when I just had reached the end of my rope in terms of fundraising or struggles in the campaign, along would come this envelope from the Susan B. Anthony list with checks in it ranging from $1 to hundreds of dollars.
It's been Susan B. Anthony that's been able to bundle those little checks, those little wonderful gifts that I've always needed at a crucial point in my election, that's bought me the next TV spot or the next radio spot or help with my mailer.
I've been fortunate enough to defeat 2 different Emily's List backed candidates in my career, in my elections, and it's really because pro-life organizations like the Susan B. Anthony list will step forward and say, we know this is an important cause, we know this is the way to improve our culture and to improve our government and our public policy.
I give a lot of credit to Susan B. Anthony list, and I'm so grateful for the donors and for those people who believe in the mission of Susan B. Anthony. Without them, it would have been very tough for me to get over the finish line.